Okay, this is gonna be my, I guess, day 2. Where I really hope I don't stutter as much and I can perform better gameplay wise than day 1. No, this is day 3. I didn't record day 2. Been busy all day. I really didn't practice at all the script too much. I read it every now and then when I had the chance. Working, hanging out, family. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. Just try not to stutter and play well. Being misunderstood is one of the most frustrating experiences someone can have at work. Miscommunication can easily turn small issues into larger conflicts when people interpret messages differently than they were intended. Most of the time, it's not that people tend to actually disagree. It's not that people actually disagree. It's that they don't fully understand each other's intent. For example, someone might give quick instructions in the email, but if those instructions are vague or unclear, team may complete tasks differently than expected. Communication issues can arise from emails, as a message that was meant to clarify something might come across as criticism if the tone isn't interpreted correctly. When the results don't match expectations, frustration begins to build. One person may feel that they explain things clearly, while the other feels they were never given enough information. The key skill in these situations is being able to recognize when communication is breaking down. And diffuse the problem before it grows. This means pausing to ask clarifying questions, confirming what was understood. Oh, that's tough. And making sure everyone is aligned before moving forward. When team actively take the time to clarify misunderstandings early, they can prevent small communication issues from turning to much larger workplace conflicts. Another common communication problem in the workplace is poor audience awareness. When we communicate, we often focus on more what we want to say rather than who will be reading or hearing the message. But understanding your audience is extremely important. The way you explain something to a manager, for example, may be different from how you explain it to a technical team member or to a client. Communication can also fail when the tone or level of detail doesn't match the audience. If a message is too formal, it may sound distant or overcomplicated, but if it's too informal, it can appear unprofessional or unclear, damaging credibility. Another common issue when people assume that everyone has the same level of knowledge. Using highly technical terms with someone unfamiliar with the subject may confuse them, while oversimplifying information for experts can cause them to lose interest or question your credibility. Because of this, it's helpful to pause before sending a message and ask a few simple questions. Who is my audience? What do they already know? And what do they need to know? Successful communication happens when we adapt our messages to our audience, making sure the information is clear, appropriate, and easy for them to understand. Let's see. Assumptions are one of the most dangerous things in project communication. In fact, they become silent project killers. Teams often assume that everyone understands their roles, responsibilities, deadlines, or priorities. But when those expectations aren't clearly communicated, people may end up working on the wrong task or focusing on the wrong priorities. Instead of everyone moving in the same direction, the project starts to drift apart. This can lead to mistakes, duplicated work, missed deadlines, and sometimes entire sections of a project needed to be redone. The real problem is that teams sometimes rely on the idea that everyone is already on the same page instead of making sure they actually are. In fields like system management, this is especially important. For example, configuration management ensures that every detail of a system change is documented and understood before anything is modified. The same principle applies to teamwork. When communication is and projects stay aligned. Another example, imagine a group project where one person assumes someone else is creating the presentation slides, while another person assumes someone else is handling the research. When the deadline arrives, nobody has completed the task because everyone assumes someone else was responsible. Clear communication is what prevents these gaps. Things like documented expectations, clarified roles, and follow-up conversations. Communication styles also play a big role in workplace misunderstandings, especially when it comes to being passive or assertive. Passive communication happens when someone avoids conflict and holds back their opinions. This can look like staying silent during meetings, not asking questions, or giving vague responses. While this might avoid tension in the moment, airball. May avoid tension in the moment. It often leads to confusion, inconsistent results, and missed opportunities for collaboration. On the other hand, assertive communication involves clearly and respectfully expressing your thoughts, concerns, or ideas. It allows you to communicate your perspective while also encouraging others to share theirs. This creates more clarity, mutual respect, and stronger teamwork. However, assertiveness does not mean dominating the conversation. Over-explaining, interrupting, or talking over others can still disrupt communication. The goal is to strike a balance, communicating expectations clearly, setting boundaries when needed, and actively listening so everyone feels heard and understood. One of the most expensive consequences of poor communication is unclear requirements. When employees receive instructions that are vague or incomplete, they may feel confused about what is expected from them. This often leads to frustration and lower morale, because people can start to feel unsupported or even set up to fail. Over time, these feelings can lead to an erosion of trust in leadership. If employees constantly receive changing or inconsistent instructions, they begin to lose confidence in management and the direction of a project. Even in non-professional environments, like even in fast food, I was a manager in a restaurant for a while, and the constant changing expectation from home office just really threw a wrench into a lot of the team's plans and activities, for lack of better words. From a project's perspective, unclear requirements can also become very costly when tasks are poorly defined. Teams often underestimate the time, effort, or resources needed to complete them. This can lead to budget overruns, wasted effort, and expensive corrections later in the process. That's why clarity from the beginning is essential. When expectations are clearly defined, understanding the why, the who, and the how, teams are able to work more efficiently, avoiding unnecessary stress, and deliver stronger results. Okay. Slide 7, our reference slide. These are our references. We use AI to help come up with the talking points for communication and its consequences, and we use the article to help come up with the script. And I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Mr. Walleye so he can finish out the handouts. Okay, and that is the wraps of my practice presentation. I did a little more rough just because I'm trying to play Modern Warfare 3, not die immediately, and then, what do you call it? Try to read the script, which I think I could do it. Day 3 tomorrow, I'll be able to upload without having to focus on the script, just eyeballing it and just thinking about it. But I guess we'll see. 10 minutes to read everything, that's not bad. Let's see. I have 2 days until I have to present. I have tomorrow, which I work in the morning, so that's fun. Not gonna be as much time to study. And then Monday, where I also work in the morning, and I gotta go straight to class. But we can go ahead and end off on the helicopter rounds. Just go ahead and finish them off real quick. Ooh, let's get back inside. Okay. Okay, we got one. Then the other one can be right here. That's not what I meant to do at all. Can I flashbang that? Is that possible? There we go.